Sunday, September 1st, a fun but really important event takes place over in Walbridge. It is a fight against illiteracy in our community, and here to talk about a special Book It 5K run are two of the folks who are really instrumental in putting this together. Marcy Fuller and Jeanette Rovatich with Read for Literacy. Illiteracy is a problem in Northwest Ohio. One would have thought with our information age and the computers, we had wiped out illiteracy, Marcy.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the jobs are manufacturing in our community, and there isn't a high need for the need to be able to read. People can fake it till they make it. So with the computer age coming up, it's become more of a bigger issue that's coming to surface.
Well, you know, somebody who gets a manufacturing job, Jeanette, I would think is beyond the age of graduation. Surely they've gone through school, and teachers and school systems have tested their reading competency.
Absolutely, they have. And I think that probably going back just a little bit, there are about 39,000 families who are reading below a fourth grade level in our community.
So they're barely functional in their ability to read.
Exactly. And what we have found is because that's the case in the household, what we know is that children are being brought up in an environment that's like that. So our goal is to work with adults and families and children to really curb that kind of generational gap in literacy. And we do that in many, many different ways. We do that by engaging children in preschool in programs that allow us to go into a preschool and work with children in rhyming and alliteration and all the things that you would have been doing with your young children at home. We're not seeing that in some of our homes where people live in lower income or in poverty.
Why might that be? Is that because there has been a generational history in some of those families of not reading?
Exactly. And what we're trying to do is to break that cycle of generational illiteracy. And if we can do that, one child at a time, we believe that we'll continue to fill those gaps and holes in our community. Right now, we're in, for example, 16 preschools in this community, really engaging parents and children in learning how to read. And then in kindergarten, we're in Toledo Public Schools, we're in the Catholic Diocese schools, we're in Maumee City Schools, we're soon to be in Oregon schools. And the idea is that you want to engage kindergartners, first graders, and second graders, because what we have learned, Bill, is that if a child is reading at level at the end of the first grade, they will be successful as an 11th grader in high school.
You know what I am learning, Marcy? My wife and I have two 14-month-old twins, and we got a lot of books when they were born. And now the boys are giving us oftentimes the very same book morning after morning, but they're handing the book to us. They don't know what the story is. They're probably not aware, but if just the fact of having a book to give to you so that you introduce to them the thought of passing pages, turning pages and telling stories, that's the beginning of a respect and understanding and a love for books.
And the joy of reading is what we're trying to instill in the children. Once you bring the joy of reading into someone's life, you can go anywhere you want to. And it's not just reading the story, it's like, hey, here's a book about Jack. Let's see what Jack's doing today. And then when you open up the book, and it's not just reading it, but engaging the child in the story as well.
Yeah, it seems to be what you first want to do is get them to know that there's a book there, and then they present it to you, and then they want you to read to them, and then eventually you read with them, and then eventually they read by themselves, and that's really what you're looking for with children. But with adults, there has to be, Jeanette, some sort of embarrassment that you get to a certain age and don't read well.
Well, there really is, and what we're trying to say to adults is don't be embarrassed. There used to be a time in your life when school wasn't important, or there was a time in your life where a teacher didn't make a positive impact for you. But don't let that rule the rest of your life. There are opportunities available in this community for people between the ages of 18 and 90 to come to Read for Literacy, and as adults engage in learning. And the best part is the program is designed specifically for that individual. So if you come into our organization and you know you're reading at the third grade level, we're going to help you get to the fourth and to the fifth, and eventually we'll help you take your GED. And the other thing that we have in our community, because we're a hub of international people, is we have folks that never have spoken English as their first language. So they're learning English for the first time in their lives, and we have programs all around town for people who want to learn English as their second language. So there's a lot of different components in our adult program, but the key is it's one-on-one. You don't have to be embarrassed, and we want you to come forward because we think that if we can help you become a better reader, you will also become more highly employed, you will become happier in life, and the joy of reading opens up all kinds of doors for you.
And you now set the marker for the next generation in your family and the generations that follow. You can be the lead. But when you say one-on-one, Marcy, what that means to me is you need volunteers.
We do. We have over 1,600 volunteers, but we do have a need for an additional 400 volunteers for our growth potential. And those people are waiting, those children are waiting for volunteers to come and help.
Well, to raise the bell, to ring the bell and raise the flag for this effort, you're going to hold a walk and run on September 1st. Tell me a little bit about that as we look at the particulars if people want to get involved.
Well, it's a 5K and a 1-mile fun walk, and we have teams that can come together, individuals, families are welcome, and it's at the Owens Emergency Center for Preparedness, which is a very unique site. If you haven't been there, we're going to set things on fire and have water exploding. And
money will be raised through this event for the registrations. Well, how will that money be used, Jeanette?
Well, actually, what we'll do with part of that money is we will actually put books in the hands of children. We actually buy brand new books, and we, in our distribution and outreach to families, will give children books so that they can start at-home libraries. And that's where you say your children started to walk up to you with the book and say, read this to me. That's going to start to happen in many of our families because of this race. We believe that if we get at least 300 people to register with us, that we'll raise over $20,000 in about 3 hours on September the 1st for the Bookin' It 5K. And you know, we're really excited, Bill, because your viewers don't know it yet, but you have joined us as our honorary chair and honorary family for this event. So we get to meet the whole Horman family.
Beverly and Ryan and Connor will be there.
Yeah, and we're really looking forward to that because we think that what that says to people is reading is important. And when we tell people that reading is important and literacy is important, and we're sending that message all the way around, books are being bought and children are really learning how to love reading and the joy of that book.
It's one thing to buy a book, it's another thing to read a book, and read a book to your children. Jeanette Ravadich, thank you very much. Marcy Fuller, thank you very much. Read for Literacy. Please join us September 1st, Sunday. All right, let's talk about the big G20 Summit. 13 ABC will be there. We'll tell you why and how we're covering it the other side of this break.